Hello, everyone. Let's get some people in here. Going live. Fin Talk Friday. Are you on?
Yeah.
It doesn't show that anybody's on. Huh. Load it up, bros.
Try again.
Hey, what's up, Dad? Dad's joining in here. This is Fin Talk Friday. I'm Garrett. We're going to let some people join in here. There's old Nebula Surfcraft. Local guy making some boards. My mom's in. What's up, Mom? That's cool. So, what's up, Bad Steve? So on this episode of Fin Talk Friday, we're gonna do a little bit of breaking down on the term rake and what rake does, how that affects fins. Also just kind of like fin placement on a fin with a lot of rake, what that actually means, and kind of like what it'll do in your board. Oh, my grandma's here. Hi, Grandma. So, yeah, my grandma has Instagram. Does your grandma have Instagram? I don't know. Anyways, so rake in a fin. This is a Bioflex made by Rainbow Fin Company. This is an extreme example of rake. Basically, what you can see is the fin goes way back here. Rake is actually the part of the fin that goes past the base. That's kind of like what we talk about when we're talking about rake, is how far back this goes. So, like I said, this is the Bioflex. It's a pretty extreme example, as opposed to something like this whole flex, which is a lot more upright. It's going to be a lot more of a pivot when you turn. Kind of two different terms when you're talking about fins. Those are the two different types. You got like a really rake fin, or you have a fin that has more pivot. So a rake fin is going to draw your turns out a lot more, more sweeped, long, drawn-out turns. So that's kind of one thing that you can think about. What kind of wave you have that you're riding. Yo, what's up, Nick? Yeah, I got my hair cut. It's pretty like going for the bob look. But anyway, if you have like a longer wave that's kind of nice and sweet, you can do long sweeping turns with a lot of rake in your board. One thing you might want to think about is also where you put a fin with a lot of rake. If you put a fin with a lot of rake really far back in your box, it might stick over the back. Might stick over the back of the board. If it is sticking over the back of the board and your board comes back at you, you're a lot more likely to get hit with your fin. Also, if your foot slips off the back when you're walking back, anything like that, you could cut your foot on the fin. So you just want to be careful where that placement's at when it comes to that. Also, what that actually is going to do when you move your fin forward and back in the box, that's another common thing that people don't really understand. So if the fin's real far forward in the box, usually that means you can turn it a little easier from the middle of the board. You don't have to be quite so far back on the tail of your longboard if the fin's further forward. If the fin's further back in the box, it creates more hold. You have all that area and all that drag kind of in the back of the board and the back of the fin, dragging along inside the wave. So that's rake. Then there's pivot, which is more like this whole flex. Like I was talking about a minute ago, the Hull Flex is going to be a snappier turn, a quick turn, like turning on a dime. You're not going to have that real drawn-out line like you would with a fin with a lot of rake. So taking that into consideration, if you're riding short waves, beach break type waves, just our East Coast waves that aren't real long ground swells, you might go with something that's a little bit more upright. You can get that snappier turn. You can get that kind of quicker transition up the face of the wave. What's up, Davey? How you doing? So yeah, that's one of those things to keep in mind when you're talking about fins and rake and different things like that. The way I like to think about another thing like pivot would be like if you're just doing like an about face like in the military would do. You're just like boom, doing a 180 and you're going the next direction. That's a pivot style fin. They're gonna be quick direction changes. That's one of the reasons why they work better in do I have a real job? That's what Sunrise Surfer, one of our local legends here, asks. And yes, I do have a real job. You guys know that. I'm over here at Rainbow Distributing every day, 9 to 5, talking on the phone, answering questions, selling stuff. Ricky Carroll Surfboards, what's going on, guys? Those guys are awesome up at the R&D factory up there. They know a lot about fins, so you can go check them out too. Anyways, let's get back to rake. Not get so distracted here. So if you're out if you're riding a point break and or a real long period swell, you might get out your fin with more rake. Long, powerful waves. Those fins have a tendency to do better in those kind of waves. A fin with a lot of rake too, you might find yourself feeling the tail kind of doing this on you. That's where you can maybe move it a little bit further back in the box and get a little bit more control, a little bit more hold out of your fin. What's the best all-around fin? Nose, off the tail, closeout. That's a good question, Nick. The best all-around fin is the fin that feels the best in your surfboard. To you, surfing is one of those things that that's a pretty political answer. I should be a politician, but that's in my opinion. I would lean more towards pivoty style fins, something that's a little bit more full. That's going to be something that you can ride in all conditions, and it's going to have a lot of hold on the nose, but also turn well. What's up, John? But yeah, so that's my personal opinion on the best all-around fin. But again, surfing is one of those things that's a personal experience. So you might think something different than me. You might like the feeling of more rake because you get the wiggly, like loose feeling on the tail when you're dropping in. You know, you might get you might like that a little bit more than me. I like a lot more hold in my fins, but. Yeah, you know that Alex, my good friend, he says my fin is the best. Just ask him. And of course, Garrett Spencer models all the way. What else would I say? Thanks. Yeah, I'll be in the next ballot there, Sunrise Surfer. I'm just reading some comments here. Yeah. So, anyways, we got that's a little bit about different fins there. If you guys have any questions, as always, you can write those in the comments. Feel free to DM me anytime. What about aerodynamic fins? We're gonna have to have you in here for that one, John. John Holman, Air 360. He's the inventor of the Air 360. One of these days we'll have him in here. He'll school us on some shortboard fins and all that. How about Alex Shearholds here? That's one of our good photographers locally. I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. It's been a long day this Friday, but we're gonna have a good Memorial Day weekend. Back on point. The Fin Talk Fridays. You guys can join us every Friday a little after 5 o'clock, and we're gonna be here doing live stuff, talking about fins. You can ask any questions that you might have here. Type those in the comments. I'll try to get to them. You can also DM myself at G_Spencer. You can DM our distributing. We'll get to you when we can, and we'll answer those questions. New fishy pintail single fin with deep double concaves. How big is it, Bad Steve? How big is the board you got? Maybe he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So he's asking about a pintail single fin with deep concaves. Deep concaves. That's going to add more. Slow the board down. You might be able to go with something. It's a 5.9. I'd say go with something a little flexy, maybe in like the 8-inch range. 7.5. I really like in single fin shortboards. One of my favorite fins is like a TK Flex. It's got a good amount of perceived rake, even though it doesn't really extend too far past the base. So this is a really good fin for single fin shortboards. Really tight turns, snappy off the bottom. One of those fins I like. You could if it has a 10.5-inch box, you can go with something like the Mikey D. Temple 8-inch flex fin or my personal flex fin. You kind of need a little bit wider box for those though. When is flex too much flex? That's another one of those personal things. One of the things I like to do before I buy a flex fin is I actually stand there and feel the fin out like this and feel the actual flex that it has. If it flexes a lot in your hand, it's going to flex way more out in the water. So that's one of the things I do before I get a fin. Personally, I like flex, but too much flex, you're going to lose hold. It's going to get really loose off the bottom. So if you can bend it a lot in your hand, that might be an overfoiled fin, something that you might want to think about. When you're going to purchase a fin, is do that. That's asked by Andy Dutro, one of our good friends. He's our local Wax Buddy rep. If you've never seen the Wax Buddy, that's an awesome product that we distribute as well. Handled wax scraper. when does Big Lex flex too much? Man, there's too much flex there. Nick's the comedian here. Again, this is Fin Talk Friday. I'm Garrett. Thank you guys so much for all the questions that you guys have written in, talked this nice interaction this week. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate that. We kind of went away from what we were originally talking about, but that's okay. That's what this is all about. Is asking questions. So if you guys have questions, write those in the comments. I'll keep answering questions as long as you guys keep typing them. And again, if you have any other questions throughout the week, you can DM those to me, and I will try to get to those on the next episode of this, which will be next Friday. Thanks, Daytona Board Store. You guys rock. Chemo, you're the man. All you guys up there. Todd, we know you. You guys are good. Wait, one more question. Nebula has a question. Let's see what Nebula's question is. See how... What's up, JD? How are you, man? So I was talking about rake. I was talking about flex. It hasn't shown up yet. Wait, one more. Stained glass fins, they don't perform any different. That's a good question, Steve. The stained glass is a signature one of a kind line that Rainbow Fins does. It's a lot more art oriented, but they're not going to really perform different. They're not going to flex though. Not going to flex like a flex fin would designed to flex. They're your functional artwork in the bottom of your board. That's designed to look pretty but also perform well. I definitely recommend that line if you're looking for something to really jazz up the bottom of your board. And so that's yeah, you know it, JD. We got happy hour coming up when I get home. But yeah, so stained glass won't perform any different, but it is a nice way to add some artwork to the bottom of your board. Those fins will go down to about 8 inches, all the way up to your big full nose rider templates. So that's another good way to make some art on the bottom of your board and just kind of make some nice looking stuff there. So I'm going long today. Yep. But anyways, I'm gonna sign off here. We're kind of looks like we're going to an end. So again, I'm Garrett Spencer. This is Fin Talk Friday. I'll be back next week. Don't forget, it should be a little bit after 5, like always. Got to close down RDI here, so it'll be a little after 5. But yeah, like I said, don't forget to. Thanks, Andy. My fin is the best always. But don't forget to tune in next week. Write any questions that you might have to the Art Distributing account or my personal Instagram account. You guys are awesome. I will upload this to YouTube. Probably won't be until like next Tuesday or this coming up Tuesday because this is going to be a long holiday weekend. Wish you guys all a happy Memorial Day, and you guys definitely have fun out there. Don't get too crazy. Later.